What's going on, everyone? It has been the LoneVaultWanderer, and just before we get started with this podcast, both Maddie and Karak aren't here, and unfortunately, when I was recording the cast, you're going to be hearing some weird pops in my own microphone throughout the cast. I'm so sorry, I don't know what caused this. I tried my best to fix it and to remove all the pops, but it's just impossible because they happen so often, so it might be a little bit unbearable for some of you listening. I wish there was a way around it, but there's honestly not. So, again, I'm sorry, but please try to enjoy nevertheless. What is going on, everyone? It is me, the LoneVaultWanderer, and we are here with the H.A.M Radio Podcast. Maddie and Karak are out. They're not here at the moment, but we do have two other guests, and I'll get Starly first to introduce himself.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stally111, and I've got a YouTube channel and a Twitch channel.
Awesome. And next we have Final Render.
How's it going, guys? It's the Final Render here, and I've decided to join LoneVaultWanderer on the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
Thank you guys
I
for
do
joining
Fallout
me.
4 build videos.
How are your build videos going, by the way? They're doing all right?
I haven't done one since kind of early December, but I am due to start one again tomorrow. I've just started a new timetable of 5 videos a week, so I need to get on top of that, really.
Ooh, 5 videos a week.
They take a long time. I want to do 5 videos a week, yeah.
I do like 1 video a week. I'm like, yeah, good work, Lone. You did it.
Yeah,
So
but, you know, you're busier than me.
Speaking of content, I've got a bone to pick with you, Lone.
Yes.
You posted for your I can't even remember the name of your series. You did the Bioshock. I watched your videos.
Yep.
Yeah. And you said Fallout 3, was it, or just Fallout
3
in
or
general?
Borderlands. It was going to be the next one.
And I'm in the process of writing the Borderlands lore series.
Oh.
So there's going to be some rivalry.
You know what's funny, though? Because I made a video saying, oh yeah, people vote on what game you want, and more people picked Borderlands over Fallout 3. So, Starly, you're going to get upset at the community, not at me. They chose Borderlands.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, that's actually going to be awesome to watch yours as well, to see how they compare. But today, for the podcast, we're going to be doing something kind of different. I mean, we're actually recording this podcast live. We're on my Twitch channel. So we've got people participating in the chat. How you going, chat? And by the end of the podcast, we'll get them to ask some fan questions. But the majority of this podcast is going to be talking about games coming out in 2018 that we're particularly excited for. And we just have a list that's up on Wikipedia for games that are known to come out in January, Feb, and March. And there are a bunch of also unscheduled releases. So we'll also go through that list and talk about them. So the first game that I personally wanted to talk about, and I'm sure you guys have yours as well, we'll start with what's coming out in January of this year. But Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Are you guys at all excited for that? Are you fans of Dragon Ball? Are you fighting game fans at all?
Is Dragon Ball the thing when you throw the Pokeballs at the
Oh,
creatures?
no, you don't know what Dragon Ball is.
No, I know what it is, but I've never really... I kind of skipped it. Don't they all like named after vegetables as well? Did I hear that the other
They
day?
absolutely are, yeah. So Vegeta is
so
named
bizarre.
after a vegetable. Raditz is radish. So, yeah, tons of influences in that regard. It's really weird, huh? But
I wouldn't say I am particularly. I know some people that are. I'm not exactly a big fighter gamer. I enjoy playing them, but I wouldn't go out of my way to like get it brand new. And I watched a little bit of the anime, but not really got into it.
So you're not like a big fan?
No. I'm quite enjoying playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse with a friend, but apart from that,
so it's interesting. If you like Dragon Ball Xenoverse, like I'm assuming Dragon Ball Fighter Z would be a natural fit for you.
probably. But again, you know, I've not really looked too much into Dragon Ball lore.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, so the interesting thing is that I don't know, like the last Dragon Ball game that I've played that's kind of similar to Xenoverse is like Tenkaichi 2. And since then, I haven't really gotten back into Dragon Ball games, and I tried a bit of Xenoverse, and I didn't think it was that great, but having a kind of like 2D-ish fighting game that's kind of similar to Street Fighter or kind of Mortal Kombat. These are the developers of Blaze Blue. I don't know if you've played that, but everyone's really hyped for this game because it's like we're getting like the first really good Dragon Ball Z fighting game that we've never really gotten because, again, Xenoverse have kind of dropped off, in my opinion anyway. So I'm pretty excited for it. But what other games that are coming out in January that excite each of you? We will start with you, Final Render. What do you think?
Well, ones which I'm kind of looking forward to. I'm tempted to try the Escapist 2. I actually kind of skipped the first Escapist.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a little game where you got to escape prison so I can fulfill all of my dreams of being Andy Dufresne. But unfortunately, it is on the Switch. Most of them this year, all the good ones, are on the Switch. So that's a shame.
Is it
But I'm
solely on
looking
the
forward to
Switch?
seeing...
It'll be on
if it's
PC as
solely on
well.
the Switch,
Ah, okay.
but at least
cool.
it's been released in January. But one thing I'm looking forward to seeing is Monster Hunter World. That's coming out.
Dude, I just got a PS4, and people keep telling me, Lone, you got to get Monster Hunter World. But I'm like, it's on Xbox 2, it seems, right?
It is, yes.
No, is it? I thought it was a
It says-
PlayStation 4 exclusive.
That's what I
On
thought.
PC.
It says
I
it
thought
on
it was
this list
PC and
anyway.
PlayStation.
This list might be wrong, but it
It's
does say...
It's Wikipedia, so you know.
Damn Wikipedia! You're failing us in
lied
this
to me.
podcast. Yeah. Yeah, I was... No, it says apparently Microsoft... Oh, it's Windows. It's... No.
Yeah.
No, it
No,
also, says, it also says
Windows.
Xbox. That's really weird. But yeah, no, people... Like, I just got a PS4, and everyone's like, oh, you got to play Monster Hunter with me. And I'm thinking, well, so what is it about? Like, can you explain the premise to me?
Well, the title kind of explains it enough as it is, really.
Giant monsters, and you've got to hunt them. There's little cats that help you, and
Little cats.
yeah.
Like actual cats.
Well,
I only played the one of them on the PSP. I absolutely loved it, but I remember little cats that went around and carried your stuff for you,
That's fantastic.
and you could like train them up to be like more useful at carrying certain things, or training you, or helping you with stuff. It was a while ago, you know. It's PSP era I'm talking.
Yeah.
So it's been a while,
So-
but I did enjoy it. I think you would probably, I think it's an RPG. I'd consider it an RPG.
yeah.
You know the Borderlands 2 DLC Big Game Hunt
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Sarah Hammerlock. I feel like that's their rendition, Borderlands' rendition of the Monster Hunter sort of esque thing.
Hmm.
We're trying to find this big bastard of a monster. Hunt
Interesting.
him.
Okay, well, no, it does sound like admittedly I've seen some of the gameplay, but I don't know if this is something that I entirely just jump into. What else do you think about a final render?
It does look like it's going to be fairly good for new people to come in. Like, I believe this is the first one in an open world, and it's kind of what
sweet.
lured me into it, because I haven't played it for a very, very long time. But this one actually I'm thinking of grabbing simply because it looks like they're making some big changes to it. And the thing which I really liked about it is that the animation just looks absolutely awesome. You see
Yeah.
all the jumping and stuff like at the award show and stuff, and just like that looks awesome.
So it's open
And it's kind
world,
of quick in a bit.
and is it like structured like an RPG? Do you know that at all?
I can't confirm. Can you confirm that, Stalin?
No, I think it's going to be like Final Fantasy 15. So I guess
Interesting.
no, I don't work there. Don't ask me.
Come on, Starly, you need to know the answers. When we ask you specific questions about games, I expect you to know it. But seriously, like, I'm looking at some of the
I'm
information
sorry, my
now.
uncle doesn't work there.
Well, like half the internet. But
Where does he work? I want to find him.
it's
He
got
works at
co-op as
Microsoft.
well. So
Oh.
here's the thing. I mean, I've always said that in recent years, games start to have less and less fully co-op campaigns. And this seems to have
Yeah.
something like that. And I think this year, we have Far Cry 5 also coming out in that regard. I mean, so,
yes.
and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that later, which is going to be fucking awesome, man. But another co-op game, I mean, this could be fun to just play with a bunch of mates.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I don't think I'll be getting it on launch. I'll probably wait until it's in a sale or something, because it's not high on my priorities. But I definitely think I'll get it. It looks interesting to me.
I've noticed, I don't know if this is a bigger trend than it used to be, but I swear, like, it's now taking 2 weeks when a new game is released for there to be the first price drop. It used to be like a month plus. I mean, you look at some of the prices for games that just came out last month. They're really reduced.
I feel like it's there are like your Activision games, no, like Call of
They're
Duty.
always full price, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bethesda always drops really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something. Who doesn't drop? Nintendo don't drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're right though in like Activision. I remember I purchased Black Ops 3 like last year to play with a mate, and Black Ops 3 is like, you know, several years old, and it was still pretty much full price when I went into my local, you know, game store, and everything else that's from, you know, that was from the similar year have just been severely reduced. It's really strange.
Same with EA. Like, sure that they're better than Activision, but like FIFA and their sports games barely drop. Like they'll drop when the new one comes, but it won't be very significant. You can get the FIFA from like 2 years ago for like £30.
So you might as well just buy the new one anyways.
Yeah.
And I figure FIFA is always one of those games where there's no real, like with Call of Duty, yeah, you can buy the older ones and still have a good time. But with the older FIFA games, like it's just not many people are playing them. And there's no point playing FIFA 14, you know, when it's 2018, for instance. And I don't know if they still update the teams from the older games.
No, they usually do the update like at the very end of the season, like September. Well, not the end of the season, but like just before the new game comes out. So like the 2 weeks before the next rendition. But
Interesting.
I don't play online. I only play with like career mode because I just don't. I'm not a fan of competitive gaming.
Neither am I. Man, in recent years, I've kind of dropped off playing online competitive games. It's just I don't want to rage, don't want to stress. I just want to play my single player games. You know.
I used to love like playing Call of Duty or whatever when I was like 13, but I just don't care for playing against other players. Like actually, Battlefield 1 got me back into online and Overwatch. Okay, but those two are just. Like Battlefield 1, I feel like I'm a part of something bigger. I feel like it feels genuinely like war. Like I'm in something. If I die, my life is worth something. I'm helping my team by, like, maybe I'm putting my life on the line for someone else because I usually play as a medic. So I generally like just like dive into bullets and grenades to revive someone. Like. I'm not sort of medic. I consider myself a very good medic, comparing a lot of very shit players who just run around and you see them on like the bottom left-hand corner. Oh, 10 meters away, they're coming close, and then they just run past you.
Nice.
I hate those guys.
What about you, Final? Do you tend to play any multiplayer online games, or you stick to single?
I absolutely love Battlegrounds at the minute. I've been playing so much Battlegrounds with some people. I love Battlegrounds, yeah. But some of the guys which I play Battlegrounds with, they've been trying to get me into Rainbow Six Siege. I bought it 2 weeks ago. It makes me want to rip my own head off and throw it out the window.
What's bad about it?
It's not that it's bad. It's just so incredibly harsh and so brutal.
Yeah.
With the difficulty spike on it. It is really, really no excuses pulled, really. And
do you play?
I love it
competitive
in a way. I've only just got to the ranked one, but no, I've only just unlocked that. But
I usually just I've not
like
touched that yet.
Yeah, but similar to you, I like playing Overwatch. You know, I've been trying to get my mercy skills a bit better, and I'm enjoying that a lot.
Apparently, they keep nerfing Mercy. Nerfing Mercy. What's the deal? Nerfing Mercy. It's a new Overwatch character.
I mean, she is a nurse.
Like, she's a secret character that it's actually going around nerfing every fucking other character. But no,
she was
apparently
just
Mercy
a
became
nurse,
too strong.
but then she started nerfing people.
But like, do you keep an eye on what's happening in the PTR and what characters are actually being nerfed or not, or do you just play casually?
I just kind of play Overwatch casually and stuff. Yeah. But I did used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, and I would follow that very closely. I would see all of the updates of the guns and things, all the little new smoke spots you can do and stuff like that. And I loved doing that. But after a while, I just thought, I really can't be bothered to argue with more 14-year-olds from Russia. I mean...
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's why you just
I used to play it competitively.
Kind of defeats the point of the game, though, if you mute the chat and stuff like that in a game like
that. If you're playing with friends, I mean...
Yeah, but you need a full team. Like, because there's always going to be, like, if you don't have a full team, there's going to be, like, one or two people that just are completely out of the loop, and then they could fuck up everything, especially when you're playing competitive. You need to talk to your team. You need to all be on the same side of
so you have to put up with the 13-year-old Russian people.
Yeah.
I mean, if he does a good job, fine. But if you do a bad job and you're annoying, it just ruins the entire experience.
And you tell me you fucked my mother. Yeah. I don't want to play anymore. So are there any other games that are coming out this month in 2018 that you guys are excited for, or is that about it?
Yeah.
This month, not so much for me, but next month has got something very interesting that we were just talking about. Two things, in fact.
Ooh, so explain. What are they?
Well, there is one which I'm very curious to know what people in the live Twitch chat are very curious
nice
about.
Plug,
and
thank
that
you.
Is, yeah, nice plug again. And that is, of course, that Metal Gear Survive is coming out.
All right, that's an interesting one because I don't know if people are hating it just because it's Konami, or if they genuinely don't like the premise because it's a Metal Gear game and it's completely different. But you sound like you're high on it.
I'm more just curious to know what people think of it, because I'm not going to buy it for the reasons you just specified, but okay. I'm really curious to know if people are interested in it, because there was obviously a huge amount of anger when this was announced, and I haven't said much because of it. I'm really curious, are they actually going to keep talking about it, or are they just going to kind of quietly release it and then hope someone buys it?
So here's the thing, this is what I've seen at least. I mean, part of the anger, actually probably most of the anger when the game was announced was obviously all the Konami stuff and with Kojima. But since then, at least from what I've seen, things have died down, and there's actually a small contingent of people that are fairly excited about this game. And I don't know whether that's something that you guys have seen or not.
I've not seen.
You haven't
seen anything on. No.
Well, that's the thing. I haven't seen anything on it.
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't know anything about this game other than it's like a zombie game that's using the Metal Gear franchise to get more sales. I feel like I don't like that because it's just like a spin-off. Well, it is a spin-off, but like it's like how Mario has like a million spin-offs. This is like theirs. You know, I know it's a major exaggeration, but it's got nothing to do with Metal Gear, I guess. If they made it like I can't remember what they're called, those crazy alien things from Ground Zeroes in the extra mission. Sure, you know, there's some link to it, but isn't it just zombies? Isn't it just literally a survival zombie game, like a round-based thing?
Can you answer that?
Yeah, I believe it is literally just kind of as you described, kind of like a horde mode, survival craft, build your base. Very
like
generic.
Nazi zombies, yeah.
Well, no, it's more generic than Nazi zombies because, you know, Nazi zombies at least has a certain formula that's unique to that.
Nazi zombies was fucking
But this
awesome,
is just...
oh, man.
That on Black Ops first one, I was addicted to that.
Dude, play that hours on end. Like, I completely gave up pretty much COD multiplayer because of zombies. It was that good.
Yeah, well, a lot of people say bad things about Call of Duty, but they give you a lot of content in each game at least. You know, you got to give them that. That's something very positive.
Absolutely. Like, each of the three modes, you're going to get a pretty solid experience. I mean, when I used to play Call of Duty, you know, religiously, I would pick up that game in the summer because it would come out November for us, which is summertime, and that would, you know, be enough for me. I'd play that every day, play multiplayer, play zombies, you finish the campaign. There's tons of content in there. It's just that in recent times, actually, I don't know how Call of Duty World War II is going, but at least before that game, it hasn't been doing too well.
It's doing slightly better than the previous one.
Okay.
But it is still, it's not going to change your mind about Call of Duty if you don't like it anymore. That's what I've heard from the majority of people.
Yeah.
But if you still like it...
I played the beta because Call of Duty absolutely died as soon as they went into the future. Black Ops 2, just no. I quite like the campaigns in Call of Duty games, and it was just absolutely terrible. Then it got even worse with Advanced Warfare. Ghosts had a good, like the first mission of Ghosts was good, and then it just went to shit.
I remember
Ghosts
playing
was
Ghosts.
A really strange one, Ghosts.
Yeah, I played the
really
first two missions of the campaign, and then I just stopped playing. I don't know why. I just fell off, you know?
I really like the concept of it being like apocalyptic, and then, all right, we're just in another war. Like, there's supposed to be ghosts that are very stealthy and nobody knows they're there, but there's... I think that the second mission is literally an assault on a beach in LA. Like, it's like you're defending... it's like you're in a scenario, it's like you're the Nazis on D-Day. Like, you're on a minigun shooting down hordes of I don't know, what South American guys, I think the bad guys were in that.
Just general South America. You were like calling in A10s with a laptop and stuff like that. It's like,
something like
well,
that.
this is going to be like post-apocalyptic, and most of America are turned to scabbers and stuff. What's this? I wanted Call of Duty Mad Max.
You know, I tell you what, that wouldn't be half bad. I'd play that.
It would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, they did do a Mad Max game that was somewhat good. You know, the open world one.
I mean, it's interesting with post-apocalyptic games because you've got obviously Fallout doing United States, it's locked down. You've got Metro doing Russia. I mean, there's tons of other locations around the world that could be really nice for a post-apocalyptic setting. Obviously, Mad Max is Australia. So where else could we go? I mean, there's tons of other countries that I know Fallout fans want that game to go, but I don't think it should ever go out of the US. But like there's tons of potential. But
countries, are there any countries that you just wouldn't really expect to see in a post-apocalyptic scenario? Like, what about like Japan or something?
Japan would be sweet, dude.
The ruined cities of Tokyo or something, covered in vines and stuff. Imagine like Crisis 2, but in Tokyo.
That'd be fucking awesome. Cool. That'd be fucking awesome, dude. I mean, someone in
I'm
the
sure
in the Twitch chat saying Canada. I mean, is Canada that much different to the US? You guys would.
I'm sure a Canadian would say so.
We're very different. Damn it.
Don't you dare.
Final, you said that there was another game that you were excited for, and I believe you're talking about Bayonetta, or is it something else?
I was referring to the Shadow of the Colossus reboot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right, yeah.
Go on. So explain a little bit about that.
Shadow of the Colossus was an old PS2 game, and it was made by, well, it's kind of, what does it say? It's a sequel to Ico, or kind of a spiritual successor in a way?
Yeah, spiritual successor, yeah.
Yeah, and it was one of the most beautiful games you've ever seen, and it's going to be remade, and people have wanted this for so long. In fact, a lot of people wanted this more than Last Guardian that they finished not long ago, and it's finally coming out, and it looks awesome, and I'm going to give it a go. I haven't played it since it came out, probably.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to going into it again. Now I've grown up a bit, because it was quite a long time ago. I was probably in my early to mid-teens when I played it. But now I'm older, and I would really like to see if my kind of mindset has changed on it as a kind of product.
So you said that this is the same studio that created Last Guardian. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
I'm not too sure, actually, because I was going to say, I mean,
I could have sworn it was.
Yeah, so you've got Blue Point Games, who's developing, and then SIE Japan Studio, which possibly I can't.
I might be wrong.
No, you're
sworn
absolutely
it was.
right. So you had SIE Japan Studio, who created The Last Guardian, but then there was also another developer, Blue Point Games, that's developing it too. So they've got two teams working on this one game. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Because I was going to say, I mean, they took so long with Last Guardian, and then this one's coming out pretty rapidly. Like, you were surprised to find out that it was coming out early this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking mad.
Are you excited for it,
Last Guardian was meant to come out, what, PlayStation 3?
PlayStation 3.
It was supposed to be the big PlayStation 3 system seller.
It came out PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
It makes Killzone 2 look terrible.
But is that a good game, Last Guardian? Do either of you know? I don't know if
I didn't play it.
No, neither.
I didn't play it.
I just got a PS4 and it's on my list because I thought that I should give it a chance, given that they spent so long making that game. You know,
I will eventually, but I'm not willing to spend that much on a game that I could go here or there with it. Yeah. I'm not really caring.
That's fair enough. But Shadow of the Colossus, what about you, Starly? You excited for that?
Oh yeah. I didn't really play much of the original because I didn't own it. But it just looks like my sort of game. I love sandboxes, open world, just exploration. I'm absolutely in love with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I only got my Switch in the end of November, and
so I've already got 100.
I've already got 100+ hours in it. And I'm wanting to complete that 100%. I'm wanting to get there's so much that I want to do with it. 100 hours in, and I'm like, there's no slowing me down.
Fucking amazing.
So I feel like that this could have that same effect. It's sort of similar, I guess. You know, massive sprawling landscapes to explore on a horse.
I tell you what, I mean, a game that is similar, and I don't know if you do like Assassin's Creed, but a game that is similar to Breath of the Wild is Assassin's Creed Origins. Genuinely,
I kind of want it, but I don't want to spend that sort of money. Like, sure, it was on sale for £35, but I don't buy games even brand new for any more than £35. And that's like the only games I would be a Fallout or Elder Scrolls or
one that you're
Borderlands.
really excited for.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, one game that we'll talk about later on in the cars, because I really want to talk about it a bit. A game that I'd buy full price, like I wouldn't even bother to ask for a review code, is Metro. Like, they absolutely fucking deserve my money with that game. But
I think I'll pick that one up as well.
I've still not played Last Light yet. I've got it.
We're talking about this later, Stanley, and I want to convince you to play Last Light because that's
I will. I own it, and it's just I've got 700 games on my Steam library. It's tough to pick what game to play.
Every day.
It's real tough playing all these games, guys.
It's such a first world problem, man. I've got so many games and I don't know what to do. But like accepting that it's a first world problem, every day someone's like, "Oh, you should play this. Oh, you should play that," or I'll just add it to my list of the 100 other plus games. Like, there's people every day telling me to play Witcher 3. Still haven't played that. You know, people every day telling me to play Last of Us, and I just got a PS4 and I need to play that. I mean, I'm sure each of us have those games that it seems like everyone else in the world has played but us.
Mm-hmm. People are telling me to play Fallout 4 VR. It's like, do you want to give me the £1,200 for the graphics card and HTC Vive? Sure, I'll do it, but
it'd be more. Yeah, that's so expensive. But any more about Shadow of the Colossus, or you guys are just excited for it?
If you're curious about it, then I'm sure there's plenty of really beautiful like 4K footage and stuff. I think it's being done on the PlayStation 4 Pro with that in mind.
Yeah,
and it's going to look absolutely beautiful. It really, really is.
Sweet. And next up, this is what I wanted to talk about. The Nintendo Switch is getting some loving next month. We got Payday 2 coming to the Switch, Bayonetta 1 and 2. There's also a Pac-Man game, if that interests you. I mean, Bayonetta, I don't think it was a surprise. I mean, I think we all suspected that it was going to be coming to the Switch. But the way they announced it at the Game Awards, I don't know if you guys watched it, but it was like Bayonetta 1 and 2, and then he's like, you thought I was done? And then Bayonetta 3 right there. I was like, yeah, that's such a great win for Nintendo, because I've heard nothing but good things about Bayonetta.
I've not got much to say on it. I've never played it. I'd probably get it on Switch because, you know, I'm always looking for more Switch games. But again, Nintendo games aren't going to go down in price. That's what annoys me.
Yeah. What about you?
At least they give you two, though, right? For Bayonetta?
Well, Final, I have to ask, do you have a Switch?
I don't have a Switch, no.
Oh, we're going to talk about
the best console.
It's fucking... Are you at all a fan of Nintendo games? Like, did you used to play them when you were growing up or not?
I've never owned them, but I've played so many. Okay. If that makes sense, you know, because there's always a friend.
What did you play growing up if it wasn't Nintendo?
What was it? Well, I played the PlayStation. That was my very first console.
That makes sense.
Played lots of PlayStation until... Well, I've got a PlayStation now, but I don't really play games on that too much. It's just a Netflix machine right now. It's all PC for me right now.
Yeah. PC, man. Just got a new PC myself. It's fucking awesome. But
yes, I know.
Dude, I grew up playing, like, it was kind of the Super Nintendo system, and then it was N64, and I grew up playing Nintendo games, so the Switch has been a lifesaver for me. And as soon as it gets Virtual Console, whenever that's going to happen, I want to replay all the old, like, 64 games and Super Nintendo games, and even some NES games too. It's going to be fucking awesome. But yeah, you should definitely get your hand on it.
I remember I was with a friend and we had Mario 64 up, and then I really wanted to go and he didn't let me have a go. So I deliberately made myself cry so that I could get a turn.
But was it worth it? Was it worth the cry? I think it was.
I don't remember. It was like 2 weeks ago. I was when did it come out? Like 96, something like that. I probably would have been about 7 or 8. Yeah, it was worth it. It was totally worth it.
Absolutely. I mean, but you grew up during that period. I mean, Nintendo was super big back then. It's always interesting to talk to people to see what kind of consoles that they grew up with. I mean, I remember talking to someone that was like, "Oh yeah, my first console was a GameCube. I love the GameCube," and that never even crossed my mind. Yeah, I mean, GameCube wasn't like the most popular console out there, but it had a few gems on there, like Sunshine, and I think there was a Super Smash. Oh, there was Zelda Twilight Princess, Wind Waker. Oh, Wind Waker was fucking amazing.
Metal Gear Twin Snakes, was that on the GameCube?
I don't know.
I mean, it was PS2 as well.
Oh, there you go. Well, what about you, Starly? What consoles did you grow up with?
My first console was a Game Gear.
A Game Gear?
Sega Game Gear. Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Going back a bit.
But my first home console was a PlayStation 1. First ever game that was on a home console was Crash Bandicoot.
Ah, yeah.
That was mine.
That's fucking awesome. I think my favorite games probably of PlayStation, and I don't remember if this was ever on PlayStation 1. It was definitely on PlayStation 2. But Ratchet and Clank, I used to adore those games, man.
That was PlayStation 2, yeah.
PlayStation 2.
Amazing.
Ratchet and Clank, Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter.
Jak and Daxter there,
The
yeah.
best.
Am I the only one who
best
really
of
wants
the
them to
best.
bring out a new Spyro since the Crash reboot did well?
I'd love a new Spyro.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
That's what I thought they were going to do at E3. I thought they were going to be like, yeah, we've got a Spyro, in the works or something, just like a picture or something.
That's all we need. Just a picture. Just
That's
a
all we
tease.
need, man. Just a teaser,
All right.
Just a
Just show
droplet on our tongue.
Yeah.
Just show a little bit of that purple tail. Just a little bit.
That's awesome. So I'm looking at the rest of this list of games coming out next month, and I don't see anything else too interesting.
Oh,
You're not excited about Shenmue 3?
my dude.
No.
Clearly, you're not an avid Stally 111 viewer.
No. No. Dude, I don't
Come
know,
on,
man.
Kingdom Come fucking Deliverance.
It's not that's not something either that's kind of caught my attention. Why is that catching your attention, Starly?
It just looks amazing. It looks like I love history and
Yeah.
I love RPGs, so it just ticks all the boxes for me. And also, as soon as I started doing videos on it, the game developers were just so useful in the community. I just felt like
That's awesome.
I was adding to the community, and I even visited their studio.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
That's fucking
I
awesome.
went out to the Czech Republic, and
Did they fly you over?
they didn't fly me over, but they paid for me to go to the Battle of Nations. I went over for a weekend, and I went to see the Battle of Nations, which is like a sort of an event where people get up and get in armor and fight proper medieval battles. And there's there's
awesome.
battles where 20 on 20, and then there's singles, and then 5 on 5. Yes, it's pretty dope.
Dude, that's
So they got me into that, and I got a studio tour.
That's a fucking awesome story, man.
That is
Yeah.
really cool.
Dude, no wonder why you're so excited for the game. I really like when devs do that. I believe that CD Projekt Red did something similar with Witcher when they invited a bunch of people to their studio, a bunch of YouTubers to their studio. I love hearing those stories.
I think it was Square Enix, not Square Enix, Eidos, which I think are owned by Square Enix. Did that with Just Cause 3, because there was a ton of Just Cause 2 videos Machinima and stuff like that. So they got a ton of YouTubers over for that. I think that's in Sweden or something. There's one in Montreal and one in the Scandinavian countries.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. So cool. But
And what did they do? What did they do for this event?
Oh, they just did they just brought over people and did game tests. I think Dan Nerd Cubed did a.
Oh, I know him. Yeah.
It was a sort of video series he did with them.
Yeah.
I can't remember where. They did it with some of the managers, because I remembered their faces from the forums, but they just did comedy sketches or something in the studio. It was kind of cool.
No, it's awesome, dude. Yeah, again, I love hearing those stories of, even especially when it's smaller developers that they just really want the game to get out there and they're being super generous with it. But so
Yeah.
what else about that Kingdom Come Deliverance? I have to look at it again. What else about the game are you excited for?
Well, it's trying to be the most historically accurate thing as possible. It's trying to be
It's actually trying to
completely
be
immersive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the only fake thing in the game is the player character,
Yeah.
basically. Because it's kind of difficult to. You can just run up and down, you could kill anybody you want, which is obviously not historically accurate. There wasn't a guy who just killed everybody, but the combat's realistic, so you can't like just go into a battle like and just be like in Skyrim where you're almost invincible, where you could just go in easy mode. Like there's not like that. It's proper fighting and stuff like that.
No,
Is it similar to say like For Honor, for example?
For Honor's rubbish in that regard. Like yes, For Honor is like the baby brother, the baby brother with a few extra chromosomes to
Oh dear.
Kingdom Come.
Yeah, For Honor wasn't that bad. Like I kind of liked the campaign. It was all right. Don't you think, Starling?
Well,
It was all
very
right.
much.
All right. I won't say any more.
Well, then.
So, Lone,
was
what are you looking
acceptable.
forward to?
Yeah. What else this month for me? I don't think there's anything else, to be honest.
Are we going to move on into March
I
then?
think we should move on to into March, because the game that I'm really looking forward to then is Far Cry 5. And I think that's it's going to be a big game for a lot of people. And for me, it's pretty much solely because it's a co-op game. Like, how often do we see like full co-op campaign games come out nowadays? It's pretty far and few between.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's
I was
not too
hoping Far
many
Cry
at all.
4 would focus more on that, but it was just I think it was 10 hours you could get,
But only
and it
10
wasn't
hours.
with story. Yeah, you could get. Well, you gave your friend a code, and he didn't actually have to have the game. You could just give him the code, and he could download it, and you could play it with him for 10 hours. But you couldn't do any of the story, so you could just muck around, do weapon challenges, etc. But not
sweet.
the main story. So it's they're getting there, but.
It's kind of like Red Dead 1, which was, because I remember picking that up thinking it was a co-op game, but it's like you can do some missions, but not the actual main story.
No, it's like its own separate little thing, isn't it?
Yeah, which is what I don't like. Like, fair enough if you have that as well, but when I want to play a co-op game, I want to play the full campaign with someone. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, Call of Duty games used to do that relatively well, where you could just play through the full campaign with someone else. But yeah, dude, like Far Cry 5, I played it a little bit at PAX Australia, and it's just
you lucky dog.
It's so much fun. It's a genuinely fun game, and I thought, imagine just having a mate and playing through the entire story, because I don't know, like, I think it'll be a pretty interesting story. I mean, the last Far Cries, I should say, I think they were okay in terms of the story department, which is what I really like in a game. But just having a mate for the ride would be awesome, I think.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Are you guys looking forward
But
to it?
shame on you for setting it in America. That's not fair.
I like the concept, because it's just like a crazy cult, pretty much.
I mean, it's like you
Yeah,
can't have
I
it
like
both
the-
ways, you know. I think it's a good idea to set it in the States as well. I think it's a really good idea, really nice setting as well. You know, it's kind of like a modern Western in a sense. I get the feeling it's gonna be like No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of vibe.
Mm.
That's what I think about.
Are you excited for it though, Final?
I don't know if I'm excited for it, but I'll definitely give it a go.
Yeah.
You know, when it's a bit cheaper or something like that, because I didn't actually play the fourth one actually, but the third one I spent so much time on that.
Yeah.
I might have spent more time in number 3 than I did in, say, Skyrim.
Damn, that's a big one.
I think so. Anyway, yeah.
What about you, Starly?
I absolutely loved 3 and 4. 2 was alright, but I have mixed opinions on Primal. I liked it, but I felt like it was a bit too samey.
Okay.
I like the concept of it, them like putting a lot of effort into making it somewhat, accurate to. It's pseudo history, but that they got a
Well,
lot.
you can't
of
be
it.
100% certain about what.
Yeah, it was like 15,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it some kind of credit.
Yeah. But Far Cry 5, I'm really looking forward to it, especially the cooperative part. The only problem is the friend that I would play co-op with on that game doesn't have enough money to buy it brand new, so I'm going to have to wait.
But here's the thing. I mean, I don't know if this would work, but isn't it the case with the PS4 where if you buy a game, you can get a friend to play along with you for free? I don't know what that system is, but I need to look into it.
There is, yeah.
wouldn't be
You
able to
can register their account on your PlayStation 4 and vice versa, and basically. But the only problem is, I think you can't do it at the same time. It just means that two people can, or multiple people can have the same game.
Oh,
so just not co-op.
Yeah, and it defeats the purpose of having a co-op game.
Yeah.
Damn.
But say Far Cry 3, I know it's PlayStation 3, but just for example's sake, say you both, one of you had it and the other one couldn't afford it but really wanted to play, you could register their account and they'd be able to download it when you weren't playing it.
Okay.
And play it.
That's all right.
So it's interesting. I think it's more of an exploit. Like it wasn't originally intended to be like that,
but it's just the way it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, what else coming out in March? That game that comes out in March that you guys are excited for? We'll start with you, Stanley. What do you reckon? Or final? Go ahead.
There's one I'm kind of curious about, and that's called Agony, and it's kind of a survival horror kind of thing set literally in hell. And
so
it's kind of like
Dante's Inferno, similar.
Well, same kind of setting, but it's done extremely brutally real, and there's like no weapons and stuff like that. Wow. And you can already see some footage of people playing it, and it is so brutally awesome with the way it's designed and stuff like that. There's like floors are made out of teeth and stuff like that, and it's really beautifully designed. And I'm very curious to see how that turns out, because it does look like a really decent horror game coming out.
Yeah.
Right about there.
Does it? Like, I've never heard of this studio, Mad Mind Studio. I mean, they seem to be like a small independent company.
It sounds like that, yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is that there is another game coming out that's very similar, called Scorn. Okay. And it's almost the same idea, except it's kind of Geiger-esque in a way. And it's very strange that both of these games were announced at the same time.
Interesting.
Very strange. Okay. So I'm interested in kind of comparing the two, really.
Yeah. I mean, would Agony have any relation to a game like Outlast? Can you actually attack and defend yourself, or is it very much more a passive game where you're just trying to get past all the crazy demons and shit?
From what I believe, it's fairly passive.
Yeah, so it's probably similar like to Outlast then. I mean, because that game is pretty much... there's crazy enemies that are pretty much stalking you the entire game, and you've got a fucking video recorder and like a flashlight, and that's all you can do is just try and sneak past everyone.
I loved the first one, but the second one made me feel so uncomfortable.
Oh, that was a tough
I quite liked it. They're probably the only games that have made me feel slight fear.
Yeah.
But I don't like I guess that's part of the fear factor, the aspect of having no weapon. Not even being able to use your fist.
I know. It's insane. Like, all you can do when you get caught out is just run.
Yeah.
But
that's what I'd do.
Yeah, dude. The first Outlast was very much like that. The second one, I'm similar to you, Final. I mean, it was an interesting game. It was less kind of jump scary. It was more just the story was fucked up. It was real.
Yeah, it wasn't even so much like the violence or anything, or the fear of losing the game. It was just, it just made you feel nasty, It's like you don't feel very nice after playing it.
No,
it's like, ugh,
yeah,
don't like this.
It's one of those games where
doesn't your character get raped?
Not. This is spoilers. It's not your character.
I mean, it was at the start of the game,
there is a kind of implied something on your character as well towards the start.
Kind of, yeah.
But it's only implied, and yeah, it is still very uncomfortable either way.
It is it is very uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to get into, just in case people do want to play it, but just know that it's a touchy subject and you need a stomach for it.
It definitely deserves its 18+ rating. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think the scene that you were referring to, Starly, was the one that this is actually why the game got banned in Australia initially, because they used to have it was like a rape orgy scene in the first build for the game, and they cut that, but they accidentally sent in that footage to the Australian Classification Board, and the game got banned because of it. But they never had that, so it was all a misunderstanding. So that footage, that little bit of gameplay was actually removed from the game's final build. So yeah,
it's like, oh Mick, which file did you send them?
Fuck, not that one.
Mick.
Told you to
I feel like I remember near the start of the game there was some sort of like rapey moment, but it's
I can't remember.
No, I do know what you're on about. Yeah, I do know what you're on about. It is in the full game. Yeah, that scene.
Wait.
But again,
does he actually? I can't remember.
No, but inappropriate, shall we say.
So I'm thinking about the other bit of that game. There's so many fucked up bits of this game.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
It's just after you first meet up with your girlfriend again.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
There you go. He gets it now.
So Agony, huh? It's going to be a similar game.
Yeah.
No, dude, it sounds good. Anything else coming out in March that you're excited for?
Not for me.
Microsoft really pumping Sea of Thieves?
Have you played it?
No. But I know they were putting loads of press into it, and like bringing streamers down to play it and stuff like that quite a while ago.
Tons of like I played it. I want to say that the version that I played was an early build, and it was definitely an early build. It didn't look like a polished game. It's definitely it seems like it's a fun game to play when you're with a bunch of mates, but I don't know how much. Excuse me, I don't know how much replayability it has, because essentially the bit that I played is you're with like 3 or 4 other people, you're on a pirate ship, and then you go and raid an island, and you loot, and it's a fun time. But I don't know if that's all that it is, and I don't know if the game's kind of improved from that point, and if they've added new content. I don't think it's something that I'd buy, but it seems like kind of like a family-friendly, fun game to play with a bunch of people, on a Friday night or something.
It's very weird that pirates are family-friendly in video games.
I know, but it's all cartoony. It's very much like I don't want to say it's exactly like Wind Waker's aesthetic, but that's cel-shaded,
Yeah. I like the visuals, but I feel like I wouldn't pay any more than a tenner for it.
Yeah.
I don't think it is going to be full price.
No,
I think it is a
yeah.
multiplayer only, slightly cheaper kind of thing. But why are pirate games always family friendly?
I know.
You got that.
It's completely backwards.
You got Escape from Monkey Island.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the most child-friendly games ever. There's loads of them.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Biggest family-friendly game.
Okay, fair enough.
Which was recently free, which was fucking
awesome. I know. I downloaded it.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet.
No, I played I think I've played 10 to 15 hours of it. But I kind of dropped it, and I'm going to get back into it. But no, yes, look, Sea of Thieves seems like a game that's, I don't know how much longevity it has to it. That's all I'll say. It's a shared world game. You'll play with your friends. I reckon you'll get some solid game sessions out of it. But then eventually it might fall out of favor unless they keep adding fun and interesting content. Have you either of you seen gameplay or played it?
I've seen some gameplay.
Not played it. Seen gameplay.
Okay.
But I was going to ask, from your perspective, what do you think it would need to make it really special?
Okay.
Honestly, to me, I'd want a story element. Like
I was gonna say that
cooperative rather than multiplayer.
Look,
I'd get it if I could play it with just my friends and there was a proper story. But it looks like it's just exploration, mucking about with random people.
And that's pretty much what
friends,
it is, right? And I was gonna say initially that it needs a story, but I don't think that's what the game is. Like the game is you with a bunch of people and you're raiding islands.
You make your own story.
You make your own story, and that's what I first thought it was, right? And it could have changed since then. But assuming that that's still the case, what I would want is just like interesting challenges, interesting events that happen weekly. Just different things to keep drawing you and your friends back into the game. So it's not just the same rinse and repeat. Oh, I'm going to go get this island now and whatever. And there also needs to be a lot of, I think there were some secrets and Easter eggs as you would play on those islands. But if there was a lot of that stuff and each island was different, then it would give me a reason to keep, playing with my mates and going to different islands. But I'm sure there's much more to the game that it wasn't in the build that I played. So I can't say too much about it, or too much else, I should say. So any other games coming out in March from either of you that you're excited for?
No, sorry.
Not that I'm excited for, but if anyone was interested in the Bayonetta talk earlier, they've also got Devil May Cry coming out in March as well. As the HD collection being released on PS4, Windows, and Xbox, according to this Wikipedia article.
It could be wrong, Final. It could be wrong.
It could be wrong. It could be wrong. But then again, we could all be wrong.
Absolutely. It could be leading us.
Maybe
it's just coming out on Game Boy.
It's coming out on the Atari 2600.
I've still got my Game Boy Color. I'll buy it.
I got rid of mine. I'm so disappointed in myself.
Did you know that there's this? Oh fuck! Sorry. Just got attacked in a game. Playing Dishonored at the moment.
You're playing Dishonored.
I'm on the final mission. Just wanting to complete it.
That's fantastic.
Just need an excuse.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're
What was I
actually
saying?
streaming, and one of us is playing a game, but we're not actually showing the game on the stream.
You are doing such a good job keeping in conversation while playing a game. I would have had no idea that you were playing a game.
I'm streaming it right now. I've been streaming the last few days, like a mission a night.
That's
and
fucking fantastic.
That's awesome.
I'm not losing that. I'm on the final mission, so this
You
is
can
the last night.
multitask really well. I cannot play a game and like have a solid conversation while playing the game. Someone that can do that really well. I don't know if you guys like to watch Total Biscuit, but he'll like play a game and talk for 50 minutes about it in a really consistent way with no breaks or anything, no stumbling. He's fucking amazing at it. So what were you saying, Sally?
I was gonna say. Oh, I mean, it is more the company. You're easy to talk to.
Oh,
Flattery.
thank you.
Flattery initiated.
Yeah,
He says we're easy.
you got an extra notch.
Yeah, you're
my
easy.
book. So let's move to April and May, right? And the one game that's coming out there that catches my attention is We Happy For You, because when that first, like the early build of it came out, everyone's like, oh, it's a BioShock spiritual successor. And I intentionally never played it because I wanted to play the final version as it was.
No, I wouldn't say that at all. Like, I've heard people say that, but I wouldn't say BioShock at all.
So what would you say?
I don't know.
It's a different thing. It's its own thing.
I can see why people kind of say BioShock, but it's kind of got like a bit of that BioShock, a bit of that new Hello Neighbor thing that came out kind of stylistically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of vibe.
Hello Neighbor.
It was before Hello Neighbor. Yeah, it's been in development for quite a while, actually.
And now it's being published by Gearbox. So it seems like it has a bit more money into it. I know that they put up the price, but look, if it's good value, like we don't know yet. But it seems like something that will be interesting to play. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's been in early access, isn't it?
I think it is early access. I think.
Yeah. And so comes out properly in April. You can bump the price up then if you want Gearbox, and people will be happy with it, or a few people will be happy.
I don't mind about the price. They sent me a copy of the game ages ago.
Really?
Yeah, I did a little video on my channel when I first got it, but it was like the first build of the game they sent out. The first like they obviously had the build at, I think it was E3, or I can't remember when they announced it. It was some gaming event, and then they had the first one that they released to people and backers. And because I've got like quite a few like Kickstarter-esque games that I've covered on my channel, that are interesting, RPGs, etc. Like Divinity Original Sin was one of them. They obviously saw me as a potential, I guess, advertiser for their game.
Interesting. And does that mean you now have the final version because you have the code for the early build? That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, it worked. It's worked for other games like that, so I'd assume so. Like Divinity, I got it really early on.
Nice.
Original Sin, and I didn't have to pay for the final copy, so I think it'll work the same way.
That's really cool.
I'm gonna type in your code, and they're gonna say, "No, not you."
Yeah, not you. You got too early of a version.
Yeah.
But
you jumped on the bandwagon way too early.
Exactly. So aside from We Happy Few, it's like Metal Max Xeno, Trails of Cold Steel, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, and Sunless Skies. There's not that much coming out in that period. That's at least been announced anyways. Anything that interests you guys?
Not me personally, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who probably like Street Fighter there. I'm sure that would be a good one.
It did look cool. I mean, like I did enjoy playing Street Fighter 2 on the Switch, and this one has a bunch of different versions for it. So maybe I'll pick it up. I don't know, because I'm not the kind of person that likes to play online. I might play through the arcade modes, and then I'll be fine with that. You know what I mean? But there is a bunch of unscheduled releases coming out in 2018 that we don't know, the specific month. So we'll start with you, Starly. There's a big list there on that Wikipedia. Is there anything there that interests you that's coming out this year?
Right, let me alt tab.
Alt tab that shit. We'll go to final. So final, do you have any games on that list?
Do you want me to say something that's pretty obvious that everyone knows about, or just something that's just smaller?
Be as obvious as you want.
Well, the most obvious one, I think, is potential game of the year, and that's Red Dead Redemption. That's coming out some point. Estimated
potential game of the year, even though you haven't played it.
Well, the first one was potential game of the year.
He's calling it
potential. There you go, Rockstar. I'll
Bookmark
take
this
it.
podcast.
But no.
If it's that good, then
If it's good, you can say I called it.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Exactly.
But yeah, obviously that's coming out like Q2, maybe, possibly Q3.
It'll probably be delayed.
Most likely. But that's going to be great. Absolutely. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
And you, Mr. Lone, you got a PlayStation 4 Pro, didn't you?
I did.
So unless they do release it on PC, you're going to be able to get a very good version of that game. That's going to look glorious.
I'm going to be able to play a really good version of it, but I still
Yeah.
need to play Red Dead 1. That's my problem. Because
You haven't tried it?
No, I haven't, because for so long I've been just playing on my PC and it's not out on PC. If it was out on PC, I would have already played it. Like, there's not even a question. And now that I have a PS4 Pro, I think I can get the old Red Dead. I don't know.
I think it's on PlayStation Now, that kind of subscription service. Do you have that?
Australia.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. It's okay. I still have my old Xbox One, and I know Red Dead is backwards compat, so I can still play it.
There you go.
But no, it does look good. It's it's a Rockstar game, so they've taken their time with it. It's probably going to be a really successful game. The only thing that makes me, I guess, not worry, but I'm just curious more than anything to see what they're going to be doing with the online component, given that GTA 5 was so, it's making stupid amounts of money for them. It's still every week in the top 10 selling games in Australia. Every single week, I have not seen a drop from that list once. And it was released 4 years ago. It's insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm curious, again, as you say, because GTA Online, it's very hard to kind of make that sustain in a Wild West. Because GTA Online, it's like you can get the cars and stuff. These are real world things that we would like. Cool cars, cool clothes. I don't know what you could do with the Wild West that would make people keep buying microtransactions.
Get a sporty horse.
A sporty horse. You can get the sporty horse pack, or you can go ahead and get the fresh
horse
armor.
Pack.
Horse armor. There you go. Perfect.
I gotta say, I mean, I know immersion is a thing because it's Wild West, but I'm playing AC Origins, as I said, and I recently got the Wacky Pack, which is a unicamel that has rainbow hair and has a unicorn horn on the head. And then also, as a weapon, I have a giant cotton swab or a Q-tip and a swordfish. So, it's not... all I'm saying is that they're probably going to be doing crazy stuff like that. I don't think they're going to be so interested, especially if it's just the online component. I don't think they'll be so interested to keep immersive and just restrict themselves. What do you think,
But even
Starly?
if you remove the restrictions, what do you do?
I know. What do you think, Starly? Are you worried about it or not?
Not exactly. I didn't play too much of GTA Online, and if it's PC, man. If GTA 5 came out on PC for as soon as it came out on Xbox and PS3, I would have probably played online with some friends, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's always hard to play an online game that comes out a year later or whatever. I think it was 2 years later, and then I guess once the hype has died down. But here's the thing with GTA. I don't think the hype has ever died down. It's got such a large audience, but it may not be your demographic.
I do like GTA, and I like the concept of it. Just I got it on Xbox 360 and PS4 and PC. Yeah, so I've got plenty.
Fair enough. But you don't think that they're gonna go full ball with the online system with Red Dead like they did with GTA? Or do you think it's gonna dial it back a bit?
I think they'll try to. They'll try to make it as get as much money as possible. They've seen GTA 5. It's like the biggest media thing ever for money, by quite a lump sum. Yeah.
I just don't know how successful they'll be in replicating that system. I think for the reasons that you stated, Final, after all, it is a Wild West game, and they could try and get as crazy as they can with the shark cards and what items that you can actually purchase. But there's a limit, you know what I mean? If they start putting in actual cars into Red Dead 2, I don't think it's gonna work.
I mean, there were cars in Red Dead 1, but
were there actually?
You could do. Yeah, the very first motor car that was released, and the main character is like, man, these things are never going to catch on. Just get me a horse or something like that. So it's kind of ironic in that. But, you could probably, I don't know, build a bandit fortress with in-game currency or something like that. Or,
oh, no.
I don't know. Yeah, you could do that. People would buy that.
That's fucking.
If you buy an apartment in GTA, you can buy a Bandit Fortress.
I just thought of the Shadow of War Fortress and felt like, oh, there's going to be so much microtransactions. And instead of shark cards, they could probably have like a pile of gold or something.
I think they are doing gold bars. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
For the setting of the game. Well, moving on, Starly, is there anything in that list now that you've had a look at it that particularly piques your interest?
Tropical 6. I liked Tropical.
Yeah.
I liked the Tropical games. And I really wanted Final Fantasy 15, but I'd prefer to play it on PC so I can get like just everything better.
Interesting.
I feel like it's one of those games that I'd like to play it the best possible experience out of, like just best visuals, best performance. So it's going to be on my PC.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's fair enough. Now there's a couple of games for me.
There's obviously Metro as well, but I'll let you talk about
Look,
that.
we can talk about Metro the whole time, but before Metro, I do want to say that I'm interested in System Shock. I mean, being a huge BioShock fan, I'm like that's like it's not the.
Well, they redone System Shock.
They're redoing System Shock.
That's sweet.
Yeah, no. So I don't know if you've seen any of the early gameplay. Like I think there is still is a demo on Steam, but they're redoing the entire 1994 game. And it looks pretty cool, at least from what I played. And being able to play that game, because I've heard so much about it, and it being the entire reason why BioShock exists, I would love to play it. But going back to those old graphics, even though I'm not like really a stickler, I would still prefer to play an up-res game, an entirely remade game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I actually did get what was it, the original Wolfenstein on Steam the other day for, I don't know, like 20 pence or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to play that just simply because it's so low res. So,
Like,
there's nothing wrong with wanting an up-res version.
No, I mean, you play for what it is and you enjoy it, but it's just not the same feeling. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when you would play that game, you'd think, oh, this is fucking awesome. And then when you think back on an oldie kind of game, you don't remember, like you thought the graphics were fucking mind-blowing at that stage. And that's why that game, resonates with you so much. But if you play that kind of game back in the day now, you'd think, oh, I can't really get into this. I guess it's the nature of things.
I remember playing Oblivion for the first time, and then I played it again the other week when you first exited the jail.
Yeah.
It looks awful in comparison.
That's why you really get mods in.
Until you get the mods in, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it looks good.
But aside from System Shock, and obviously there's Metro, I'm trying to think if there's any other games that pique my interest before we... So there is Darksiders 3. Have either of you played Darksiders?
I didn't try the first two, no.
What do you think of it, Starly?
I enjoyed it, but I didn't get properly into it. Like I've got the War Mastered edition and everything. I got like I bought the original, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, this PR company that I'm in contact with just sent me the code for the remasters, but I still not got down to it. And yeah, I'm up for bragging this stream.
Okay.
But yeah, I enjoyed I only played the first one for about an hour or two. I enjoyed it, but again, I've got too many games.
No, that's fair.
And not enough time.
See, it's interesting because I completely 100%ed the first one, all achievements and stuff, and I never picked up the second one because that was when I stopped doing my whole achievement craze thing. But if you Starly, I gotta say, I don't know if you're a fan of older Legend of Zelda games with like your traditional dungeons and stuff, but Darksiders is very much influenced by that. From what I remember, it's got very similar dungeons and puzzles for you to solve, and the setting, like, it's obviously not the same setting, but it was always interesting to me, having the four horsemen. So yeah, like I would recommend that game, and that's why I am looking forward to Darksiders 3. I just got to replay, play the second one to get prepared for it. But let's talk about Metro, and I got to ask first, Final, are you excited for Metro Exodus or not?
I'm excited for it. Yeah. I am excited for it. I don't know how different it's going to be, tonally. Like, is it really going to be that different, moving it outside of the Metro and bringing it into the open world?
Yeah.
But that's why I'm excited about it at the same time, because the first two were solid gameplay-wise.
Absolutely.
They were absolutely solid.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, will it adapt well, or will they have to kind of change up some of the gameplay and add some new mechanics in order to make it still feel kind of confined? I don't know. I'm really curious about it.
Well, they got they have a bow and arrow, don't they? I remember seeing something like that, or was it a crossbow of some sort.
Every Russian has a bow and arrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
just hoisted on their back at all times. But
All times.
you were saying, Starly, that you actually haven't played Last Light yet. Was that you that said that?
Wait, sorry, I was listening to dialogue.
That's fine.
Really
Oh,
sorry.
dear.
You said that you haven't played Last Light yet,
No, I've not touched it.
but you played the first one.
Yeah,
So
really enjoyed it.
you'll really enjoy the second one. You need to play it. Are you going to play that before you play Metro Exodus?
Oh yeah. I'll probably stream it. I'll probably stream the first one as well, like in sort of anticipation.
Yeah. Like, what did you think of the first two final? Did you think that the second one was much better than the first?
I preferred the first one because but that might have just been because it was a new world.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it before. Whereas the second one, I'd already seen it.
Yeah.
But the second one really kind of tightened the controls and the shooting mechanics and stuff. It was a great sequel in that sense.
Absolutely.
It took everything that was not so much wrong, but could be improved with the first one and really improved it.
Oh, they
improved it.
Technically, they did a much better job with the second one. And have you played the Redux versions too?
No, I've just got the OG versions of those.
Dude, you've got to play the Redux version. Like, if you are intending to play Metro Exodus and you just want to replay them, they look so beautiful redone. It's it's fucking amazing.
They're on the DirectX.
Yeah, dude,
11, 12.
It looks so
Well.
and the reason why I say that is because I don't know what it was, but like the first two versions of those games, the outside areas just didn't look as clean and crisp as they do in the Redux versions. And because Metro Exodus is going outside and having that really like, I don't know how to explain it other than to say it's a clean look. Like, it's not murky. Like, the landscapes are fucking beautiful, and you can see like, really far when you're in the outside areas, and it's like nice and light and bright compared to the original versions, which were much darker and gloomier when you went outside. But that's why I'm really looking forward to Metro Exodus, because when you look at the gameplay, it looks so pretty. It looks gorgeous, man. And if they just keep the same, like, they'll have a good story because it's based on the book, and they just keep the same gameplay and the gunplay. I think it's going to be a Game of the Year contender, absolutely.
It definitely could be. I mean, it'll definitely be one of the best single player games, that's for sure. Like, they didn't have any multiplayer components in the original one, so I assume that's probably going to be the same. Probably could do co-op on that if the story allowed it. But I mean, the story could be flexible in that sense, I guess.
I think, no, absolutely, because he's traveling with his wife, Anya, I think.
Oh, did they get married, did they?
I don't know. I might just have completely misquoted that. But in the trailer, I do remember that she was talking as well, saying that...
Yeah, she was in there, yeah.
Yeah, so him and Artyom need...
definitely.
Or her and Artyom, sorry, need to actually travel to different areas to see who's alive. Like, that was the concept. So they could do a co-op. I think it could work. Yeah.
I'm a little bit skeptical for Exodus. I hope it's good. I feel like it's going to be good, but like... When they introduced sort of the train battles, the train on train
Sounds awesome.
sort of like, it sounds awesome, but it sounds a bit silly.
Dude, it's like a James
I felt
Bond
like-
flick. How can you not be excited?
It's like
about
Battlefield 1.
that? Exactly.
But I felt like Metro was sort of
Confined?
It was meant to be in the tunnels.
I guess it felt like it's obviously fiction, but it felt authentic fiction.
I see what you mean.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
it felt like I was immersed in it, and it felt like this could have actually happened.
Would you say that, like, unlike Fallout, which is a little bit more out there, like Metro was actually trying to be somewhat more realistic in its portraying of a post-apocalyptic world?
And
Yeah,
also
definitely.
something that I noticed during actually it might have been your stream of it.
Okay.
I dropped in, and at the start of the game, there's a poster for the book on the wall.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's sort of a meta comment on, I don't know if I could be completely talking out my arse here, but how the book is in that universe, and it predicts the future of, I can't remember the year. What's the year? 2034?
33.
33, yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea, I suppose. I never really thought about it in that sense. I thought it was just a kind of shameless plug to also buy the book. That's what I always
I mean,
thought.
it could be, but
It
like,
could be,
just thinking deep here.
No, definitely. And like, I haven't read the books myself, but I've always thought that the story for Metro has been interesting, but I don't want to spoil it too much, but the second one really got into the whole. It's not even alien. It is aliens though, isn't it?
It's
like
kind of a supernatural kind of thing.
Supernatural.
The dark ones.
Have either of you watched? I don't know if you watch a lot of Netflix movies, but have either of you watched Spectral? It's kind of like a sci-fi. So it's like a sci-fi movie that they believed it was aliens that were attacking them, and it turned out to be based on science. But it's kind of a similar thing with Metro. So we say that it's trying to be a bit more realistic, post-apocalyptic wise, but the actual story is dealing with supernatural stuff and alien stuff. And I think that keeps it interesting anyways.
True, but you could remove the supernatural stuff on Metro and it'd still be great. That's
true.
What I think about it.
That's true.
Yeah, you could easily just cut that out of the game.
I've realized, Metro did it, and Fallout also did it with aliens. What is it with post-apocalyptic games, being influenced by the alien life or supernatural? It's weird.
Maybe the aliens cause the apocalypse.
Do you know what? They probably will one day. I reckon they'll look down on us and think, you guys have fucked up. Say goodbye to your
Let's go
world.
live with them.
But you guys have any other games on that list that you're particularly excited for? I know there's one that piques my interest, but I'll leave it to you.
I'm curious about it, and you might be, Lone, later on down the line, but there's God of War.
There is God
I was
of
going to
War.
say that too, yeah.
Yeah.
See, here's the interesting thing, because I got my PS4 recently, and I've built a list of the main exclusives that I need to play. So, on top of the list is the Uncharted remastered. I think it's the HD collection, like the Nathan Drake collection.
Yeah.
Nathan Drake collection, yeah.
That's right.
That's it, yeah.
I've got that there. I've got Last of Us. I've got Bloodborne, Horizon Zero Dawn. But here's the thing: I wouldn't just want to jump into this God of War without having properly played the previous ones. And I think I have played like a good amount of the first one with my friend, but it's just so hazy in my memory, I'd want to replay them. So have you played all the previous ones, Final?
I've played them all, yeah. I even played the PSP ones, actually, yeah.
Even the PSP ones?
Damn.
Yeah, I think they did too. And I released them both. In fact, I think you can get them on the PS4 as well. Or was that PS3? I don't know, but you could also get them
PS4,
on the
yeah.
other systems.
So
yeah,
is there like a
and,
remastered
Chains
version?
of Olympus was the other one as well.
I've got because there's only one that was on the PS4. Let's just see.
They remastered the third one for PS4. I know
That's
that.
what it
Not
was.
the
That's what
first
it was.
two. See,
Did they do a HD collection for the PS3 of 1 and 2?
Yeah,
could've
I
sworn
think
they did.
so.
Yeah.
It would be awesome if you could pick them up on PS4.
Well, maybe you can. I don't know. I haven't checked.
Maybe it's
in a while.
PlayStation Now. That's not available in Australia. They hate me.
Is there not a way to get around it? Is there a way? I mean, not that we would encourage anyone to listen on the live stream.
It would be connect to a VPN in the US, and then that way you connect to PlayStation Now. But here's the problem: it's a streaming service, so connecting through a VPN through a US server, it would be so delayed. It would not be ideal.
Could you do it? Could you do it closer? Could you connect to Japan or something? You can get Demon Souls then as well.
I think it's only but PlayStation Now is only available in the US and some parts of Europe.
I could have sworn it was available in Japan as well.
I don't know. Maybe
Surely it's in Japan.
But
surely.
Japan's still pretty far away from us here in Australia.
Yeah, I was just thinking closer.
Everything's
than the US,
fucking
you know,
far away
Everything's
from
far
Australia.
away. Everything's a 10-hour flight.
Man, you're far away from each other. What are you talking about?
Exactly. But yeah, no, look, I would love to play the previous ones, but maybe I've got too many other exclusive to play first. So maybe I'll see how the next God of War is, and if it's still a solid game on its own, I'll play it. But I would want to play the previous ones.
Apparently, it's only in the US, UK, France, Germany, Austria, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg.
There you go.
There you go.
So not even Japan, not even the place where Sony exists.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's their main headquarters anymore. I think they moved everything to the US.
Yeah, I think it's more. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. I thought you were about to say Australia when you said Austria. I'm like, yes, they did it. Let's go.
Just a tease.
Yeah.
Not quite.
So what else? I mean, finally, are you particularly excited for God of War?
I wouldn't say I'm excited about it, but I would definitely give it a go. Definitely give it a go because I'm looking forward to at least seeing what it's like.
Yeah.
Because I know they kind of changed up like the camera angles and stuff like that, kind of made it more over the shoulder third person.
Yeah.
And it just looks beautiful.
Okay.
But it's actually a pretty good year for PlayStation 4 by the look of it, actually. There's not many PC exclusives and stuff there.
No, there's not. And to be honest, I mean, last year was such a good year for games. It was a fucking amazing year. I don't think this year's going to compete. Like,
no,
there's Red Dead 2 and there's Metro and there's Darksiders 3. Like, and then there's also Biomutant, which interests me, but I don't know. I don't think this year's going to compete with last year because it's so hard. There's such a high barrier, you know?
Well, the year of the Switch, man. Year of the Switch.
Year of the Switch. And Zelda and Super Mario and Rabbids in the same year. How can you compete with that? It's too many.
Is Rabbids on the same level as Zelda and
I put it above them. It was my game of the year.
Didn't you put that as your game of the year?
It's my game of the year, absolutely. It was such a surprise. It was fucking amazing.
Mario XCOM?
Pretty much. It was. It was so fun to play. Just a joy to play that game for hours on end. I fucking loved it. But is there anything else that interests either of you guys on that list, or could we get to fan questions?
There's one more, which I'm curious
Pokemon on the Switch in 2018.
Do you reckon that's going to come out, Sally? In your honest opinion?
In my dreams, it will.
In your dreams. What about you?
I really hope it will, but I feel like it's going to be 2019.
I think it's going to be.
Don't think it'll be 2020. I don't think it's going to be that late.
What do you think, Final?
I think they are going to release it next year.
Next year, really? I think it's too early, guys. I don't know. Because put it this way, I mean, the team that worked on Sun and Moon, I think that was the last one, presumably they'd also be doing the Switch version. And they just did Ultra Sun and Moon last year. So if you're assuming like it's a 3-4 year development cycle, then I think it's 2020. It could be, I reckon it may be late 2019, mid to late 2019. I just don't think next year, early at least, is realistic. I'm not too sure. But
already,
yeah. No, so I don't know. I look. I would love it to come out really fast, but and they do. Nintendo does need some really good exclusives because I don't want to say they exhausted all of their exclusives last year, but they exhausted a good amount of them. And I know that this year they have a Yoshi game. They have I think it's a Fire Emblem game and an Ace Attorney game. But I think they need another marquee title, and especially for next year as well, because maybe a Super Smash? I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Well, that is Nintendo's thing, isn't it? It's all about the IP, but there's so much stuff you can do with each IP, you know? Just say Mario for none, you know? You could do another Mario Party, please, on the Switch. Do that.
No, I agree with that. They should do a Mario Party, absolutely.
So make it fair this time.
What was not fair? Which game wasn't fair?
Most of them.
I loved them. I loved the Mario Party.
I love them, but gosh.
Do you know what? No. Do you know what they need to do? Do you know that top 100 Mario Party game thing that's on the 3DS?
I saw that.
They need to
that's
port
kind
that
of cool
to the
idea.
Switch. They absolutely need to. That'd be fucking awesome. But anyway, so we'll actually move on from talking about games coming out in this year that we're excited for to answering some fan questions that are being asked in the Twitch chat live. So you guys can also have a look at them as well. And I'll pick the first one just to get the conversation going. So, Dr. Mr. Pepper asks, what are some of your opinions on the game A Way Out that's coming out in March, which is, of course, developed by Joseph Fares, who was brilliant at the Game Awards. And he made Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, one of my most treasured games of all time. So we'll start with you, Starly. What do you think about A Way Out?
I want to comment on him first. I thought he was talking about a completely different game when he was talking about he was just like talking all his shit, like just slamming everything. And I was getting excited for the game that was previously shown because I thought he was like on for an interview afterwards. And then A Way Out comes and like, all right, okay, it's about this game instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the concept of bringing a split screen game back. But I feel it's limiting itself by being only split screen.
Okay. Here's the problem, though. I mean, well, not a problem, but have you played Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons? I mean,
I have, yes. But I've not played it co-op.
So you've not played it co-op. But like,
no.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of the developer's style. And before Brothers, I can't remember playing too many games that were similar to that. So I kind of like how they're still sticking to that, or to somewhat similar anyways. But no, I'm really personally excited for it. Are you excited for it, Final, or not?
I haven't actually seen too much of it, but do you guys remember a game on PlayStation 2 called Prisoner of War?
No. Let me Google that.
Oh, okay. Well, it was set in a POW camp and you had to escape. Would you say it's maybe something similar to that kind of escaping from a prison kind of thing?
Kind of.
Because I don't really know much about it at all, so...
Yes, so the concept, as far as it's pretty much, it's maybe it's kind of like a Shawshank, right? But I don't know too much about the specifics. All I saw was Joseph Fares go crazy at the Game Awards and say, yeah, we have this game that, you're two people trying to escape out of a prison, and if he does anything similar to what he did with Brothers, I think it will be a heart-wrenching, emotional story, and that's what I would really look for. Probably one of the main characters are going to die. That's my best guess.
I don't know, man. Like, that'd be kind of shitty unless it was like the last cutscene, because you're playing with your best mate or something.
That's the point. That's the point, Sally.
I get it. I get the meaning, but I wouldn't. I'd feel like if I was the person who died, like, what's the point in me being here? Well, I'm just gonna whip out my Switch and play the next Pokemon game.
But again,
that's coming out next
that
year.
would be the point, to pull at your heartstrings. Like, I think that could be an interesting swerve that they go for, but who really knows? So we'll pick another question then, and this is something that we'll have some interesting discussion. Joe Cadge asks, do you think Bethesda Game Studios is releasing a game this year?
Oh, do you mean the actual studios, not just any of their licenses?
No, the actual studio.
Oh, right. No,
everyone's like, oh, I don't know.
You said Bethesda Game Studios, but I just heard Bethesda Softworks for some reason, and I was going to say, Wolfenstein 2 on Switch.
On Switch, but no, it has to be BGS.
As a joke, but no.
I think they've got too much work going on. They're doing too much other stuff.
They do have a new studio helping them with everything. So maybe
I'm trying to think, what could they release if they were going to release something?
Starfield.
Yeah. The best guess right now is this it's an unannounced title called Starfield, but we don't even know. Like, ZeniMax has trademarked the name Starfield for a game. Mm-hmm. We don't know what it is. We don't know even if BGS is working on it. Everyone's just assuming that they are.
Yeah,
and we'd have no idea, when it come out. But here's the thing. I mean, could they do something similar with Fallout 4 with a new IP, mind you? Would they announce it at E3 and then release it later this year?
I think, honestly, despite my I wouldn't say hatred, but disappointment with Fallout 4, to say the least, I really like the way that they dealt with the PR. They just dropped it at E3 and said, you know what? Here's Fallout Shelter, you can play that now. But guess what? You can play the main game that you actually care about in 6 months or less than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like every game should be like that. Unless it's something that is like an indie developer that can't afford it.
Yeah. And they kind of need the leg time to build it up and
say your wee Happy Few, your Kingdom Come Deliverance, or just Kickstarter projects, or crowdfunding, or they've only got like 10 grand and a couple of basements. They don't have Bethesda's money. They don't have Rockstar's money. So I think that's probably the best way to do it, and I hope they do.
Do you think they will though?
I think they will. Know. I mean, you could. They will. They did that with Wolfenstein 2, did they not? Last year.
No, they did. No, you're actually absolutely right.
They teased it within a trailer. What was it? They said, what was the game?
No.
Wait a second. No, it was on the like, it was an Easter egg. It was literally saying 2 or the new Colossus. So
it was at the previous year's E3. They had
I don't know what game it was though.
Was it Quake?
Maybe it was Quake.
Yes, I think it was Quake.
But they had that little tease, but then like the actual full reveal came. You're right, in the same year that the game was released. Same thing with Evil Within 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think, Final?
I just don't know what you could do to have a release be released. Do we mean are they making a game, or do we mean are they going to suddenly announce something?
Are they going to release it this year?
I don't know. I mean, because it's really hard to say because they're kind of sporadic at the same time, which is good. It's really good to suddenly say, by the way, here's Fallout 4. But I just can't think of anything off the top of my head that they might be working on that would take everyone by surprise that much. There is Quake, but is that Bethesda Game Studios?
No, that's not
their
BGS. Here's the thing, though.
No.
I mean, Fallout 4 came out in 2015, right? If something was going to come out by the end of this year, it would be about a 3-year turnaround. They took 4 years with Fallout 4, but they do have a new studio that can help them out. Was it 5?
Then they start.
No. It was.
They started they started before they finished Skyrim.
Yeah,
like,
but what I meant though, it was like when Skyrim was released in 2011. 4 years from that date, they released their next game.
Right.
So if you assume that, it's Fallout 4 was 2015, 4 years from that would be 2019. So maybe they announced something at this year's E3 or at a similar event, and then they release it next year. Or because they have their new studio in Montreal, they're able to actually turn it around by the end of this year. I mean, who knows?
Oh,
what do you think?
I mean,
it could be, though?
everyone was expecting Starfield or whatever it was last year,
but that was too ambitious. That was too ambitious.
However, it was sort of Bethesda's fault because they kind of made their whole theme. Sure, there was the world.
It was not their fault. That's that's BS. That's BS.
I'm pulling at straws here, but at E3, people would have been excited. They would have been expecting it when they had their background for the entire E3 event as like a starry sky. Like it was literally just stars.
Yeah, but here's the issue though. Like literally all ZeniMax has done was file a trademark.
I know.
And everyone's like, well, you put stars in the fucking video. How dare you? Like, come on. It's such a big jump.
Stars are pretty common. I see them every day. You look out the window, they're there.
Like, I thought it was a bit of a jump for people to get upset. Like, it was never going to happen. I was this close to making a video too, saying there's nothing going to be announced for BGS. But this year, I think they will announce something, and I'll make a solid prediction. And if I'm wrong on that one. But I think they will announce something at this E3. It's whether they release it this year or wait until next year. And the only reason why I think they'll wait is because it's a new IP and they need time to build it up. It's not like Fallout where everyone's familiar with it and they can release it within 6 months. I don't think it's that well known of an IP. Like, no one knows what Starfield is. So they need to, make people familiar with it, in my opinion anyway. But let's move on to the next question. It's from Jack Heck, who asks, which video game story has impressed you the most? How did the story affect you emotionally or mentally? We'll start with you, Final.
Oh, it's kind of a toss-up between two. One, I might say Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
That might definitely be a good contender there, because for the entire time you kind of feel as if you're not actually trying to beat monsters, but you're just kind of being toyed with. By the town itself in a kind of horror, very Stephen King kind of way.
Yeah.
And it almost made me feel more unsettled about just being in the town. And then, I won't reveal spoilers and stuff, but towards the end, they kind of realize that you're not exactly who you think you are.
Yeah.
And it kind of throws you off a bit. And you're like, oh, is that really what this is all about? And you're like, oh, I don't trust myself. But another one, it might have actually been Mass Effect 3.
Okay.
When kind of all the relationships are ending and stuff like that.
Yeah, because not many people like that story, or the ending at least.
Well, it's so much the ending, but it's more so that when some of these characters kind of all come back together, sometimes not seeing each other for a while and stuff, just some of the writing with those characters was absolutely spot on. And some beautiful imagery and stuff like that in there. There was one time when Shepard would ask, Edie, do you actually understand why you're doing this, as an AI? And you actually feel as if, do I trust what this character I've always liked is actually saying? Or are they just kind of repeating programming? And it actually kind of makes you question your own feelings about the character as well, not just Shepard. So I like that. I would definitely like that one as well. So one of those two. What about you guys?
What about you, Starly?
I'm a big boy who doesn't get emotional.
Oh, come on. Oh. You must have one game.
Honestly, I don't really feel like emotional. I'd say I was surprised by a few games, but not really any's coming to mind. I quite liked BioShock Infinite.
Yeah.
And the story, language. Like the, yeah. And it's quite deep in that. There's just endless universes. The ending was quite. I don't know if thought provoking is quite the word, but interesting. But something that has me emotional. I don't think there's really any game that has done that for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bioshock Infinite is a great answer. Because as you know, I am a Bioshock fan. But
yeah,
it was like...
one of the biggest.
One of the biggest. And I don't want to get into spoilers, obviously, but...
Yeah, please don't, because I haven't finished it.
Okay, then we can't talk about it. Because I don't even want to hint as to what the story, the twist could be. So, yeah, play that on your own. But...
I think I know the twist already, but yeah, keep it a secret still.
Yeah.
In case anyone else doesn't.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we are live.
Absolutely.
On LoneVaultWanderer's Twitch.
you can plug it for me.
A question.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
Any other games, Sally?
I would look through my Steam list, but Steam's currently crashed on me.
No, fair
so can't really. No, I can't think of it at the top of my head. No.
All right. Well, I will say, in terms of emotionally, and I mentioned it just before, but Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, the way that story ends is like really pulling at your heartstrings. It was. I'm not saying it made me cry or anything, but it was pretty. It hits you. It really does, because the way that it just builds up and it gets to that final point, it's just fantastic, that game. Obviously Bioshock is a easy answer for me, but I will say as well, like, I don't know if you guys played What Remains of Edith Finch last year. That was a really, really good game story wise, and it wasn't like the most emotional thing in the world, but it was mentally thought provoking. And it's only a 3-hour game or 2 or 3 hour game, so I won't say much about it, but you definitely should play that game if you want something that's really quick and easy, but also as well gets you thinking.
Kind of in the indie scene as well. I definitely felt that Papers, Please made me think about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So tell me about that one.
Well, Papers, Please, you're at the checkpoint of some kind of fictional Cold War-esque country, allowing people across the border, and you are literally given rules every day to check. You're not allowed people from this country, and you're not allowed people who weigh this much, or if this person, I don't know, wears a big jacket, you've got to scan them illegally and stuff. And
interesting.
It kind of forces you to do things that you don't want to do, but you've got to kind of justify yourself as a player if it's justified or not, statistically.
Yeah.
But it's real lives. And I kind of get emotional about it in that sense, because it's based very much on real events that actually weren't that long ago.
Yeah.
So it's very nice in that sense. It's definitely worth a try.
Like, is it a short game too, or is it pretty long?
If you're trying to do like all the endings and stuff, it's probably about 5 hours, maybe.
That's not
First
bad.
run, you might do it in about 45 minutes first time.
See, I really like games like that are pretty much 1 or 2 sessions you can get done. Like, I really like to play short games in between bigger ones. You know what I mean? So, like, I remember last year I played Soma, which was like a 2 or 3 hour game. But it's just like a nice
the Amnesia guy.
Oh, dude.
Is it that short?
Good. It's really short.
I played like an hour and a half, and
dude, you almost finished it. You gotta go back to it.
Yeah, damn.
Did you not like it?
Well, it wasn't that I didn't like it. I just sort of forgot about it because I did it as like a first impressions sort of video.
Yeah, you were pretty much right to the end.
Right.
Nah, dude, really good game. And again, I'd recommend Brothers. I'd recommend What Remains of Edith Finch. Yeah, there's tons of other really short games that I absolutely adore. And they tend to come from the indie, kind of AA crowd. So, well,
they don't have the budget to work on like really huge graphics and stuff, so they got to make up for it somewhere else.
No, absolutely. And here's the problem. I don't know how profitable those kinds of games are. Like, they're still like, these are still small teams or maybe a 1-person team working on those games for several years, and they end up selling for, I say, usually indie games are $20 US at launch, and then they go down in price. I don't know how sustainable those kinds of games are. I hope that they are, because you got some real gems out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe profit can be termed in different ways. Maybe you'll get a new member of staff because you made that game, or maybe you get accepted into a new company. There's lots of profit.
Or maybe you get acquired, or maybe you get a job. Like,
there's something so like that.
Definitely. So we've been recording for about an hour and a half now, and I think that's a good time to wrap it up. So I want to say thank you to Starly and Final for joining me on this podcast. We got to talk about tons of different games. And we'll end it as well like this. So just pimp out whatever you're doing on your personal YouTube channels or Twitch channels. We'll start with you, Starly. What are you doing recently?
Well, as I said earlier on in the stream or podcast, whatever, that I was planning on. Well, I'm in the process of writing a Borderlands lore series, and I'm also going to be doing a Kingdom Come Deliverance lore series, which isn't so much lore, but it's more telling history from the perspective of the game. And also, I'm wanting to cover that game because it's about to launch, and
Very cool.
well, hopefully, I'll get some mixed reviews.
All right. And what about you, Final?
Well, to kick off 2018, of course, and also, is this the first Ham Radio podcast of 2018?
It absolutely is.
Yeah. All right. So on my channel, your Final Render, we've mostly been doing kind of survival and crafting games with a huge amount of emphasis on Fallout 4, where we do the series building with mods. So if you like Fallout 4 and you enjoy the building crafting system, come check out my channel. You'll have some great fun, I promise. And I've just decided to start doing 5 videos a week with not just Fallout, but other games as well.
Very nice. And I'll get Maddie to put the links to their channels in the description below, and also their Twitter handles will be on the screen. And they've been on the screen this whole time, so you would have been able to follow them there. And again, thank you so much, guys, for joining me. This has been the H.A.M Radio Podcast. Hopefully it gets uploaded to Maddie's Patreon and to iTunes and all that really quickly. But until next time, please, thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for joining. I was about to do my own traditional LoneVaultWanderer ending. It wouldn't work for this podcast. It was so natural. Yeah. But thanks so much for everyone. The
engagement's gone to his head.
Absolutely.
I do it all the time with streams.
It's so weird, isn't it?
So, like and subscribe. Go on, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This has been the LoneVaultWanderer. No, but seriously, guys, thanks for joining to the end, and we'll catch you next week.